editor. And this Google Hangout is part of the Femina Made by You issue, which is a crowdsourced issue. And the issue we are being partnered by Dove, which is India's leading beauty brand. Today we have a very special session lined up for all of you who've joined us. It's a topic that we spend a lot of time discussing. The topic is hair. Now, who doesn't like to flaunt beautiful, healthy hair? All of us do. To have healthy hair, to have a good hair day can really boost our confidence and make us feel like we're on the top of our game. But do we really know what's good for our hair? There's a lot of information out there which is either incorrect or half-baked. So we have, we have questions like, does shampooing our hair every day cause it to fall, or will brushing my hair every day make it shine several times in a day shinier, or do conditioners have chemicals that can damage the hair? So there's a lot of incorrect information out there that can lead to a lot of confusion. Now, to bust all these questions, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Punit Saraogi. Dr. Punit is a renowned clinical and cosmetic dermatologist and trichologist. He is also the member of the Hair Research Society of India and reviewer of the International Journal of Trichology. His expertise is extended to the hair research and development at Hindustan Unilever Limited. His passion lies in working on research scientific projects, as well as demystifying common hair misconceptions among Dr. Punit. We have a lot of questions lined up for you today. These are all related to hair myths, and these questions have come in from our readers. What we did was we invited them to ask questions, and we put our social media platforms open to them and asked them to use the hashtag hair myths busted. So there are a lot of questions in here that I'll be asking you through the course of this session. We are also being joined by 3 readers today, Simran, Samiksha, and Samita. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Google Hangout. I'll be coming to you later during the session, and you can ask Dr. Punit questions. So I'm going to start with the first question. You've been providing hair as well. So what is the most common hair myth that's doing the rounds?
The most common hair myth is surrounding hair loss. What is actual hair loss? What constitutes hair loss? Will shampooing cause hair loss? And what amount of hair loss is actually normal? So there's so many misconceptions surrounding. A lot of people actually who come for a hair consult come with only misconceptions. They don't have any hair issue per se. That means, in spite of so much knowledge available online, still people are confused. And as you said, a lot of things are half-baked. So hair loss, definitely.
Okay, so coming to hair loss, you also mentioned there's normal hair loss. Now we know that all of us shed a certain amount of hair every day. But how would you define normal, and when do we start getting worried about our hair fall?
So I think people are worried about hair loss anyway. Right. Anyone above 20, if I ask, do you have hair loss? Everyone will say yes, I have hair loss. So no one is happy seeing hair on the pillow. No one is seeing happy hair on the floor. Absolutely. Even though it is normal. Now what happens is our hair grows in stages. Grows in various cycles. Your hair will grow for a couple of years. It's the anagen stage. At the end of its growth cycle, it will undergo death, become telogen hair, and over the next couple of weeks, it will actually shed. And at the same time, you have another anagen hair from beneath, which is actually pushing that hair up. A lot of times, hair loss is also a sign of hair growth because you have a new hair replacing your dead old hair. So some amount of hair loss is definitely normal. Also, which complicates the whole thing is that hair loss is never stagnant. It is always episodic. You have days when you lose a lot of hair, and you'll have days when you don't lose that much of hair. And our brains keep working, attaching a cause to the day that we had hair loss. So it could be the shampoo you used, it could be the hair massage you did, it could be the egg that you ate. You never know. It can be very stupid, attaching consequences to hair loss. So you must have read about the number 100, that it's okay to lose 100 strands a day. Somewhere it's very generalized. Not all of us will lose 100 strands a day. And of these 100 strands, you will not lose all of them at a particular time in a day. For instance, on shampoo days, you will lose a lot more hair. And on non-shampoo days, you will not see that much hair. If you take an average of the hair lost over a week, it should be around 50 to 70 strands. Keeping in mind, there can be a lot of seasonal variation. There are people who lose a lot of hair at the beginning of winter. You may lose a lot of hair over those 5-6 weeks, but it stabilizes on its own without any intervention. So those are natural physiological variations in the amount of hair loss.
Okay, that was extremely helpful. That was, in fact, one of the most common questions that asked by our readers. Now, there's one more question that a lot of readers are question is it true that shampooing your hair will cause it or damage it? And also, how frequently should one shampoo the hair?
In fact, the most common question I'm asked n number of times in one particular day. And at times it's difficult to convince people that, shampooing cannot cause hair loss. So there I'm answering shampoos cannot cause hair loss. And at times I give them this example which works with for a lot of people. Most shampoo formulations are similar to body wash formulations in terms of ingredients. Obviously, there's a lot of complexity in the art of formulating a shampoo. But body washes don't remove body hair. You have to do your wax and shave every now and then. So how a body wash cannot remove body hair, your shampoos cannot cause hair loss. All they do, they cleanse your scalp and they cleanse the hair. Now what happens is as the hair undergoes telogen phase, it's coming closer to your scalp surface and it's getting ready to be shed. And any massage on the scalp, which can be a hair oil massage, it can be a massage during a shampoo, will dislodge these hair. And definitely you will see more hair loss during shampoo. Now this was a dead hair, it would have fallen any which way. If not during that shampoo, it would have fallen the next day, probably when you're running your fingers through your hair. You can't get greedy about dead hair. The hair is going to shed. You can't retain dead hair. So shampoos are just innocent bystanders. They are there at a time where you're supposed to lose hair. So shampoos cannot lose hair. To answer the second part, how frequently you can shampoo, this is a very personal choice. For instance, I shampoo my hair twice if I have a short oil that day. A lot of people attribute a lot of bad negativity to shampoos, that we should not shampoo. The only reason females don't shampoo very regularly, it's difficult to manage long and wet hair. It takes time to dry, it takes time to comb, you're rushing to work, etc. Apart from that, if you want to shampoo every day, and specifically if you have a very active lifestyle, you're gymming, you have a work which involves traveling office to office or outdoors, or especially in a country like India and like Bombay where it's very hot and humid and you sweat a lot, please go ahead and shampoo as much as you want to.
I hope that's answered your question. One more very common question, and again, a lot of readers have written it. You ask, will frequent trims my hair grow faster? And also, if
to answer the first part, no, frequent trims will no way influence your hair growth.
Okay.
I think this is a myth perpetuated in parlors and salons where people say that you trim your hair more often and it will grow better.
Right.
There is no truth to it. Your hair grows deep within the scalp, and there is no way trimming the roots, the tips will influence the hair root in whatsoever manner.
Okay.
And neither is your hair weight going to pull down your roots and cause more hair loss. So it's not true. However, definitely, if you have damaged hair, trimming the roots will eliminate those damages. For instance, for someone to grow your length hair, it will take around 5 to 6 years to achieve this length. We grow around 6 inches every year. And so obviously the tips of the hair roots are as old as 6 years. So all the damage that you've done over these years, grooming, probably hot air, blow drying, straightening, etc., will accumulate on the tips. The tips are the most damaged parts, as opposed to the roots which are growing closer to the scalp, which are more healthier, have an intact hair strand. So when the damage is beyond repair, it's best to trim the last 1 inch of the hair once in a while.
All right. Okay, we have a question from our reader Sachi Garg, and she asks, is there any way we can delay graying of hair?
To answer this quickly, not really. Graying of hair in most cases is something which is familiar. I see children as small as in 9th and 10th standard with early graying of hair. It's called medically premature cavities. And technically, to put it very simply, no, it cannot be avoided. It is something which is there in the family. Very few people will actually have vitamin deficiency, which cause early graying. These are the minority of most population. If you have any vitamin deficiency, especially children, correcting these to prevent further graying. But for an adult with graying of hair, there is no way to reverse it.
Another reader's written at Saras_Thakur, and her question is, my hair is thin and it doesn't look good when I make it. What can I do?
Again, a lot of people who have thin, straight hair, they want more bounce and weight. People with curly hair want to go for the poker straight hair. So this is, I think, a universal law that people want what they don't have. Now, if you have thin straight hair, the best thing is that it is manageable. It doesn't get entangled a lot. What you can do is don't use heavy conditioners. Because if you use conditioners meant for very damaged hair, for very frizzy hair, these have heavy protein ingredients molecules. It will actually weigh your hair down. The other thing you can do is you can probably skip the conditioner and use a leave-in serum. These serums are usually made up of silicone. The oil base that you see is actually silicone, which is very, very light. It puts your hair without making. Do the shampoo and skip the conditioner and use a leave-in silicone-based serum, probably on the hair end, and that should.
Taras, I hope you've taken down what Dr. Punit. The next question is from Meghna Peshwani, and it asks, what would be the best place for a bad hair?
Sometimes your hair is beyond your control. You do everything right,
Absolutely.
and you'll still have a bad hair. Your hair has a mood of its own. So you've heard of the Murphy's law. Things will go wrong at the right. Yeah. So an important meet, and you may have a bad hair day. What generally helps is if you used a good shampoo, conditioned it in the right amount, and probably use the serum on your tips, it will make your hair as good as it can look. And at times, probably blow drying at the beginning of a very big event, etc., can also give you the hairstyle that you desire.
Okay. All right. The next question I wanted to ask is, we've grown up with, we've been hearing that egg and curd is really helpful. It nourishes your hair. Is it true? Does applying egg or curd to hair, does it nourish the hair?
It's actually very popular. I think it comes from the grannies telling us do this and oiling and this. To answer it, yes, it could help your hair. Now, curd and eggs, etc., have both fat, that is lipid, as well as proteins. Now, these, to some extent, if they are not rinsed out thoroughly, will coat the hair and thereby provide some amount of protein and oil to the hair. Now, there are bad sides to these. We don't want to smell like egg and curd the entire day long, and the hair retains that stench the entire day. So one doesn't want that. Second, the other thing is these molecules are very big. So for example, milk or curd, they have protein molecules which are actually very big. These will not enter the hair shaft. It's like you're trying to put a cricket ball through a golf course, golf hole. The proteins are not going to enter the hair strand. So you need smaller protein molecules to enter the hair. So ideally, skip these. There are many technologies available now which have better protein molecules, which are breaking down for ready use. Use those instead.
Okay, in fact, related to nourishing the hair, we have a reader, Samiksha. Hi, Samiksha.
Hi.
Hi, Samiksha. You had a related question. You can ask Dr. Punit your question.
Dr. Punit, I have heard that Dove contains keratin actives in it. Do such technologies really work?
Okay, so there's so much in shampoos and conditioners these days, so much technology, so many kind of technologies. How do these technologies really work?
As you correctly said, there's so much of science and technology now that is going behind formulating any hair care, product that you always spoil for choice. Generally, to give you a very clear and a simple understanding, most of these would have certain kind of protein and amino acid. These are hydrolysates. That means it's actually broken down to a very, very small molecular size. Once the proteins are broken down to that size, they can actually enter damaged hair. Our hair is nothing but protein. And as we groom our hair, you blow dry, you straighten, or just by the fact that your hair is growing and the tips are undernourished, the hair will lack protein and it will actually have holes in the hair or gaps in the hair. And these tiny protein molecules can for some time go and sit there and bridge the gap. And thereby give you more manageable hair, they can give you a little bit more stronger hair for the time being. Obviously, the protein molecules coated are lost during the next shampoo. Thereby, you need to put them again.
All right. Thank you so much. Samiksha, I hope you got your answer.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you for your question. We have another question from a reader. Now, this is again very common. A lot of professional women, professionals, and we women have to use a blow dryer or tongs or straightener. Now, the question is, does this seriously damage your hair? And if yes, then how do you minimize the damage?
So yes, it definitely damages your hair. Hair is a dead protein. Once grown, your body cannot repair your hair. So if there's any damage which happens to the hair during any of these procedures, that is retained until the hair is cut off. So while inherently hair is a little, you can play around with the hair to some extent, but getting into a lifestyle which is, a lot of chemical procedures and straightenings, etc., blow drying and hot ironing is a vicious cycle. If you do it, it feels great. If you stop doing it, your hair is more frizzier, it becomes more unmanageable. You do it more often. So it's a cycle that you cannot get out of. Two things. One, limit the amount of procedures that you do. Keep these for big events and special meetings, etc., and not for regular everyday use. You start loving the hair that you have rather than changing it continuously. Second, use good products so that you can somehow mend these damages. So use conditioners specifically meant for damaged hair because they'll have more actives, they'll have more proteins which will coat the hair. For example, if you're ironing your hair, use a heat protected serum.
Okay.
Now these will not really prevent all the damage, but since they form a layer on the hair, to some extent they will
minimize.
Yeah, they will definitely minimize. They'll prevent the heat from directly cooking the hair strand.
Okay.
So use these products. Other tips: if you're blow drying regularly, don't use hot mode. You use the cold mode regularly, and use the hot mode for special occasions again. Don't comb and groom your hair when it is wet, because wet hair is more elastic. It breaks more easily. So generally run a shampoo comb through wet hair, and comb or brush your hair only when it's dry. So these small things would definitely help to prevent hair loss and prevent damage.
Absolutely, those tips are extremely helpful. Thank you. I'm going to get in our next reader in. Samita, hi, can you hear us?
Hi.
Hi, Samita. You can ask Dr. Punit your question. What's your question?
Hi. So my question is, does applying conditioner on the scalp cause dandruff?
No, it doesn't cause dandruff, but the entire logic is conditioner is not meant to be applied on the scalp. Conditioners have ingredients which are meant to coat damaged hair strands. It's best applied on the hair shaft and the hair tip. It's not needed on the scalp per se. But even though if you end up applying conditioner on the scalp, there's no harm done. Just rinse it off completely and you'll be
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Samita. Okay, we have a next reader, Simran. Hi, Simran.
Hello.
Simran. Hi, Simran.
Hi.
Okay, Dr. Puneet is ready to answer your question. What's your question?
Hi, Dr. Puneet. My question is, I don't like oiling my hair. So is it true that oiling my hair will make it healthy and shiny?
That's another common
Okay,
question.
so Simran, I think I will also say the same thing. I don't like oiling my hair. I don't remember the last time I actually used oil on my hair. It's been decades now. But this is, a common remorse a lot of people have. So a lot of urban population is not oiling, but they always feel a guilt that, no, we should be oiling.
Right.
So definitely oil has a lot of benefits. It is actually, oil will have a lot of protein in it. Generally the vegetable oils that we generally use in India. These proteins again will coat the hair. They will form a layer on the hair. And when you wash off the oil, generally a thin film of the oil is left on the hair.
Right.
Now this film of the hair the oil will actually lubricate the hair.
Okay.
It will align your cuticles, make your hair look shinier. It will make it more manageable. They will not entangle as much. However, it comes with a downside. Oil is greasy. It will weigh down your hair. It will give you that tacky feel. Obviously, there's a lot of time which it takes, to oil, wait for some time,
Absolutely.
wash it off, etc. So again, oil if you really enjoy the process of oiling. So a lot of people like a head massage. A lot of people like the ritual of a hair oiling, which is more for the mind than for the hair. Then please go ahead and oil as frequently as you want. Second, you can always use conditioners which mimic oil. So while conditioners will also do half the job, they will coat the hair, they will give you shinier hair, manageable hair without the downside. So it will not make your hair limpy, it will not make it look greasy and weighed down. So you can choose between pre-oil, pre-shampoo oils as a conditioner, or probably just a rinse off conditioner at the end of a shampoo. So that's totally up to you.
Simran, I hope you've got the answer to your question.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Simran, for your question. I have a question for you now, Dr. Puneet. How do you identify hair that's nourished, and how do you know when your hair is damaged?
So this is something you can identify yourself. If there are days when you love your hair, there are days when you want to run your fingers through your hair.
Right.
Hair looks manageable, it doesn't fly away, and your hairstyle sets for a long time. That's generally all attributed to healthy hair.
Right.
Hair which is healthy will have intact hair coating. So you have a cuticle which is the outermost layer of your hair. If this cuticle is well aligned and if it is intact, your hair will feel nicer.
Okay.
So it will feel it will have less static electricity. That means your hair will not fly away too much. It will stay the way you have set the hairstyle. On the other hand, undernourished hair or probably damaged hair will be frizzier.
Right.
Will need a lot of product to weigh it down to actually make it less frizzy. It will get entangled easily. It will break very easily. So when you're combing your hair, and even the slightest force can cause a lot of breakage of your hair. So damaged hair will also break easily. It will also not look as nice and shinier as nourished and good hair.
All right. Thank you so much. With that, we wrap up the session of the Google Hangout. Thank you, Dr. Puneet, for answering all our questions. Ladies, after today's session, I hope you know what it takes for well-nourished, damage-free, healthy hair. Take care of your bristles. Ensure that they are well-nourished, healthy, shiny. Remember, healthy hair is good hair. Thank you for joining us all. Thank you, Samita, Samiksha, and Simran for joining us and asking. Thank you and bye-bye.